Well, thanks for joining us. When you're going out of town, finding a trustworthy pet sitter or boarding facility can be a challenge, but ultimately it comes down to what will best fit your furry friend's needs.
News 13's Hannah Ronner breaks down the pros and cons of each option in this week's edition of Pet Patrol.
Everyone needs a little vacay once in a while, but unfortunately not every trip you take is going to be pet friendly. So while you take a break and hit the road, pets will need to stay at home with a pet sitter, or they're going to need to go to a boarding facility. But which one is better? Well, that's going to be dependent on your pet. Owners should consider a pet sitter if their pet is not up to date on vaccinations and if your time away from home is a little bit lengthy. You also need to take into account your pet's personality. If they're more on the stressful side or suffer from separation anxiety, they're going to feel more comfortable if they remain at home in a familiar space. Pet sitters are also your best option if your pet is older and suffers from physical disabilities like blindness, deafness, or mobility issues. If your pet is friendly and loves to visit new places, they're going to do just fine if they need to be boarded. This is the best option when your trip is shorter. Before you go, the pet needs to be accustomed to staying in a kennel, though, and they have to be up to date on vaccines. These vaccines include Bordetella, which would be treating kennel cough, rabies, DHPP, which is distemper, hepatitis, parainfluenza, and parvovirus. Apart from the trip length, your pet's personality and their physical traits, you also have costs to consider. Rover is a great tool for finding pet sitters. The prices per night range from $25 to $50 for one pet, whereas a boarding facility on average is $50 or more per night. Pet sitters will typically add $20 to $30 for an additional pet, and boarders are going to nearly double it at $50. Therefore, it is more cost effective for multi-pet families to get pet sitters. The site and app Rover can also be used for third-party boarding, where a host will open up their house to take care of your pets. And most of the time, this is also going to be cheaper than taking them to a boarding facility. You can find this story on WBTW.com. And while you're there, head over to the News 13 Pet Patrol page, where you can upload a photo of your pet. They could be featured on air as our pet highlight. This week, we have siblings. So we have a white little kitty named Haley, but she's hanging out with her brother, Puff, who's actually a bearded dragon. So quite the duo there. We're going to see you back here next Monday on News 13 First Edition for the latest in Pet Patrol.
Thank you, Hannah.